when we talk about the arrogance of Abraha even, before the Prophet ﷺ, right? To think, you know what? I'm going to take elephants over there. And I'm going to destroy the Kaaba. You know, at some point, a person starts to feel so invincible, and an oppressor starts to feel so invincible, that they start to undo themselves unknowingly. Because they become so arrogant and so unaccountable in their minds that they're inevitably going to trip themselves up at that point. And it's amazing because Allah Azza wa Jalla addresses the past, present, and future. وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا. Your Lord does not forget. Your Lord does not forget. This is comfort to the oppressed. And this is a warning to the oppressor. That a person might think that they've gotten away with the crime that they've committed. That their oppression has gone unpunished. And they might start to think, well, if I got away with that, then let me push it a little bit further. And maybe I can get away with this. And the oppressed has to remember, وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا. If I don't see justice here, I will certainly see it in the next life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not forget, and that gives me some comfort. وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا. And in the midst of it all, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ اللَّهَ غَافِلًا عَمَّا يَعْمَلُ الظَّالِمُونَ. Don't think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is heedless about what the oppressors do. Not that these ayats, by the way, are frozen to the past or the present. But they certainly speak to both the past and the present, that even in the midst of it, you have to remember, Allah is not heedless. And notice, by the way, that the call from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not then, وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا, and your Lord is not forgetful, so you don't forget them. It's don't forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because لَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ. The problem is if you forget your Lord, not if you forget your oppressor. Allah has not forgotten your oppressor. And Allah has not forgotten your oppression. But you don't forget your Lord. وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ اللَّهَ غَافِلًا عَمَّا يَعْمَلُ الظَّالِمُونَ. Don't think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is heedless in regards to the actions of the oppressors. So don't become heedless of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't become heedless of your Lord. If you forget your Lord and if you become heedless of your Lord, that's when the oppression happens without any type of redemption for you in this life or in the next. And then if that oppressor then starts to think that, you know what, I'm really getting ahead of this. I control the technology, I control the media, I control the politics, I control every dimension and every dynamic of the situation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala catches them right at the height of their power. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَيُمْلِي لِلظَّالِمِ حَتَّى إِذَا أَخَذَهُ لَمْ يُفْلِتُ. Allah fills up that oppressor, lets him go, spares the oppressor, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala snatches that oppressor, and Allah does not let that oppressor go. Right when you think you've reached your peak, right when you think you have covered all of your bases, right when you think you have completely solidified your oppression, right when you have got the system of your oppression down to a science, right when you have suffocated into silence every single person you think that challenges your oppression, right when you think you have every tool of power at your disposal, at that moment Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala snatches you. And you're done. And the next oppressor comes along and tries to repeat the same equation to end up with the same eternal fate. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not forget. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not heedless. But are we forgetful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And are we heedless of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And when you become forgetful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you become forgetful of those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has assigned rights to. And when you become heedless of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you become heedless in regards to the rights of those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given sacred rights. Your brothers and sisters. Your brothers and sisters. As a Palestinian Muslim, I have a special connection to Indian Muslims, but I don't need to be a Palestinian Muslim, I just need to be a Muslim. They're part of our ummah. There's something that deeply ties us together, dear brothers and sisters. And we can't wait for, and what I appreciate about what Brother Raqib said is that sometimes we fall prey to only measuring things by casualty counts. 1,000 people, what's the big deal? Are we waiting to see the rivers of blood of our brothers and sisters in India before we take it seriously, before we then throw our hands up in the air, garner up enough energy to have a protest somewhere in front of an embassy and say this is outrageous? Or are we going to be amongst those who intercept and interrupt before the bloodbaths happen? I really do believe, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us what we need, inshaAllah ta'ala, to stop this and to be there for our brothers and sisters.